Roger Bannister, Pygmalion, self-fulfilling prophecy, and the placebo effect. What do these four things all have in common? They have belief. Belief that if you try hard enough, that if you believe hard enough, that if you want something bad enough, then it will happen.
Who was Roger Bannister? Roger Bannister was a 25-year-old Oxford, England medical student. He was a top mile runner at the University of Oxford and St. Mary's Medical School in London, England. He won British championships in the 1951 and 1953 mile run. In the 1952 Olympics, Roger Bannister set a British record in the 1500-meter race but finished fourth, which only fueled his desire to be the first 4-minute mile runner. As he was preparing for the 1954 season's start, he was researching the mechanics of running and training using methods that he had developed. What were these methods, you might ask? Well, he would close his eyes and picture himself running. He would picture himself never getting tired during the mile. He had help in training from his pacers, which he had minimal training with before the race. And on May 6, 1954, Roger Bannister was the first man to run under a 4-minute mile. Then, soon after this happened, his record was broke 46 days later. Today, over 50 years later, the record has been lowered by almost 17 seconds. You may think, why didn't anyone beat the 4-minute mile before Roger Bannister if so many people did it right after him? Well, this was because for so many years, no one believed that the human body could withstand this kind of stress. But after one man had finally done it after so many years, then everyone knew and believed that it was possible to do this, which motivated many people after him to try and break this record. And today, in the Olympics, to run under a 4-minute mile is a normal thing.
What is the placebo effect? Well, first we must ask, what is a placebo? A placebo is anything that seems like a real medical treatment, but really isn't. This could be a shot, pill, or any other type of fake treatment. The thing with these pills or shots is that none of them contain any type of actual medication. They usually contain only sugar or water. The weird thing about this is that it actually works. When the FDA tests any drugs today, that drug has to go through an experiment in which they take the real drug and give it to 5 of the 10 people. And they give the other half a placebo and tell them that they are taking the new amazing pill that will improve your health and make you feel great, when in reality, only 5 of them are taking the pill. Now you would think that the other half of the 10 people that are taking the sugar pills wouldn't have any effect on them. But what actually happens a lot is that their sickness actually starts to get better. No one knows how this is even possible, and it has puzzled doctors and scientists for years. But what is believed that the reason the sugar pill starts to have an effect on people is that they believe that they are taking the actual medication that is supposed to help improve their health. And the sheer belief alone is what makes them start to experience improvements in their health. What is even more interesting about this is that it has been found that if the sugar pill the person is taking is bright in color rather than dark, it will have more of an effect on the person. Also, if the pill is larger capsule or has a label on it, such as an L, then the pill will also have a larger effect on the person.
Here are the facts. A placebo may look like real medicine, but it isn't. Placebos are made of inert substances like sugar and used in clinical drug trials to prove the efficacy of a real drug. In clinical trials, one group of patients receives an experimental medicine and a second group receives a placebo. In theory, this gives scientists an objective way to measure whether a medicine actually has an effect on a patient. These double-blind, placebo-controlled tests are used throughout the pharmaceutical industry, and a drug must beat a placebo in at least 2 trials to gain FDA approval. Seems simple, except that is, for the placebo effect. Some patients who take the fake medicine also experience improvement in their symptoms. Sometimes, placebos even outperform real treatments. While scientists don't fully understand what causes the placebo effect, we do know one thing: it may be increasing. Here's where it gets crazy. It's strange to think that a person's beliefs may generate measurable effects. It's even weirder to think that this effect may be increasing across the board.
What is self-fulfilling prophecy? Do you ever get that weird feeling when you believe you can do something, like learning how to ride a bike, and you eventually succeed? You didn't only succeed because you kept trying, but you believed you could. Self-fulfilling prophecy is you believing something and then it happens. Dr. Ali is going to do a study with belief on 84 housekeepers at 7 different hotels across the country, and she will explain what happens.
So these women are on their feet all day long. They're using a variety of muscles and they're burning an extraordinary amount of calories just doing their job. But what's interesting is that these women don't seem to view their work in this light. We asked them, we said, "Do you exercise regularly?" And 2/3 said no. So we said, okay, well, so on a scale of 0 to 10, how much exercise do you get? And 1/3 of them said 0. I get no exercise at all. So we wondered, what would happen if we could change their mindset? So we took these women, we split them into 2 groups. We measured them on a variety of things, including their weight, their blood pressure, their body fat, their satisfaction with their job. And then we took half of them and we gave them a simple 15-minute presentation. We gave them this poster and we said, you know, your work is good exercise. It satisfies the Surgeon General's requirements, which are quite simply to accumulate about 30 minutes of moderate physical activity. You should expect to receive those benefits. 15 minutes. We came back 4 weeks later and we measured them again. Not surprisingly, the group that didn't receive this information didn't change. But those that did looked different. They dropped weight. They had a significant reduction in systolic blood pressure. They dropped body fat. And they reported liking their job more. So what does this tell us? Well, to me, it was fascinating that just as a result of a simple 15-minute presentation, the whole game changed, producing a cascade of effects on both their health and their well-being, presumably without even changing behavior.
Who was Pygmalion? Pygmalion was a very talented Greek sculptor from Cyprus. One day, after he became disgusted by some prostitutes, he started to think of all women in the way that he saw them. He lost all interest in women and started to avoid any company of them. He started to see all women as flawed creatures and vowed never to waste another moment of his life on a woman. He started to dedicate his life to his work and soon after made a statue of a woman out of ivory. This statue ironically was the masterpiece of his life, and it was a woman. Over the time of him working on the statue, he started to fall in love with it because it became so beautiful. He started to dress the statue in clothes and jewelry. He would bring gifts, caress it, and kiss it. He brought it gifts that he thought a woman might enjoy. He started to realize that this statue was the love of his life, and he wanted for her to be able to love him back as much as he loved her. So he went to the goddess of love, Aphrodite, for help to make the statue able to love him back. Pygmalion had brought a bull to sacrifice, and the goddess gave him a sign. As he held the sign, it burst into flames 3 times, then stopped, and he left the temple. As he was going back to his home to see the statue, he didn't know what to expect, and when he got home, he saw the statue. He was astonished. It looked like a real woman, so he touched it, and it was warm. It felt like a real woman, so he kissed it, and then he realized that the goddess had given the statue life. This ties into belief because after thinking of women as such disgusting creatures for so long and ironically falling in love with the statue of a woman, Pygmalion had to believe hard enough that the goddess would bring the statue to life for him, and he wanted this so badly that she did this. So again, what do Pygmalion, Roger Bannister, self-fulfilling prophecy, and the placebo effect all have in common? Belief. Pygmalion had to believe hard enough that the goddess of love would take pity on him and bring the statue that he created to life. Roger Bannister had to believe hard enough that he could run under a 4-minute mile. He had to try and never doubt himself, no matter how hard it was not to. In the placebo effect drug trials, the people not knowing that they are taking the placebo had to believe that they were actually taking the real drug, which in a way tricks their brains into believing it so much that it starts to heal the sickness in the body, which is actually pretty amazing. And in self-fulfilling prophecy, you must believe in something so much that the outcome is what you believed. You believe that there will only be one outcome, and must believe hard enough that nothing other than that will happen. This has been the Pygmalion Project.